Kyle brought up the cleanup sessions that you guys looked from on the defensive side, and Darius spoke about this Saturday about having trailing on a lot of Lipscomb's actions, especially late when you guys had a chance to cut into the deficit and take the lead. And how much are you really focusing on defense, especially the way the Austin P game ended and the way the Lipscomb game ended, to try to clean that up for this week?
Yeah, I try and, fair question, but I really try and stay away from outcome-based instances. And I felt like Austin P, when I went back and watched that, we defended better than the percentages would dictate. So I wasn't as jammed up as I was immediately after, and that's typically the case after I watch the film and I'm not so tied to the immediacy of the outcome. Lipscomb, I didn't think we were right, and a lot had to do with how well Lipscomb played, and some of it had to do with just being off a little bit. And part of that being off, not to make an excuse, was Joseph Van Sant's our best defender, and he wasn't right. He hit Asajala's brace early in the first half, tried to make a go of it, was not his normal self, and I think Darius protected a little bit too because of the hit that he took early in the game. So the focus, yeah, we got to clean it up, but we've been trying to clean it up even in the midst of winning 7 in a row.
How's JB doing now?
He's scheduled to practice today.
You said that you don't care if you win by 1 or 20, that doesn't matter to you. But how valuable, now you don't want to lose, but how valuable is it playing in a tight game like that and having to execute in every possession being so critical down the stretch of a game?
Yeah, I looked this up before I walked in here because I just want to make sure we have a reality check. The teams that we've lost to on the road are 41-2. They're 41-2. Like, there's been 41 other schools that have gone in those venues and haven't won. So because we've had and experienced some success, especially in league, I think there's this notion or this fallacy that we're just going to walk into every court and venue and come out with a victory. And that's just not college basketball. Just again, do I think we have a chance? Yeah, because we have unbelievable dudes and great assistant coaches, and I think we've got a culture that has a chance to compete at even the highest level. But I do have a little bit of length or duration, another way of saying I'm old in this. Like, I've seen where having those tough games where adversity strikes you, interference is in front of you, and you got to navigate the terrain in order to get to the other side. And although we didn't, Darius had a really good look with less than a minute to go. If that goes in, we don't foul intentionally twice, and maybe there's game pressure on Lipscomb that they hadn't experienced before. So, but that's the way it goes. Now, sometimes I think it's a negative to win by a lot if wherever you're at home or on the road, because again, that just gives you a false illusion of what it's going to be like the next time. And but it's the game of basketball, and that's why we love it so much. Like, it is a constant manipulation of the puzzle pieces in order to try and solve it. And I'm infused by that process. And I think we have a group of young men that are committed to that pursuit.
You mentioned that you've been through those type of games where you have to get resourceful. How valuable is it, though, for this collection of players and this unit to go through a game like that? And obviously you don't want to have injuries to Joseph Van Sant and Darius McKay, but how valuable is it to the team this year to know what it's like to go through that and how to get resourceful?
I would rather win and it be easy. But isn't that what we would want in our lives, that we could be comfortable? I think comfort is it's seductive. And so I think anytime you experience a little bit of adversity, you've got a chance to grow from it. And I heard a great quote the other day. It was at church, actually. The guy said, offense is one of the greatest vehicles that we can have on our way to maturity. And I think that's really true. I think, especially this generation, we sometimes get offended by what people say or maybe what they do. And I think you could substitute that word offense and just put in there some kind of adversity, fear, failure, whatever it is, And if you, like Tony said in his press conference at the Final Four, if you handle it the right way, it can buy you a ticket to a place you couldn't have gone without it.
The players come in here, frequently and talk about how much they've learned from you and gained from you, just knowledge of how to do life. Darius, as he's kind of entering the end of his Liberty career, you've been around him a long time. What have you learned from him?
Yeah, great question. Like, why I do it it's the Anthony Gills and the guys that we get privileged to do life with, because I've had coaches in my life that significantly impacted my person. And man, I heard it once said, you can never give away what you don't possess. So because I possess a mentorship and a unconditional love and have experienced grace, I think it's easy for me to turn that around. And as I think I'm doing that for our guys, what I've noticed, especially with this group, is, man, they're teaching me. Like, their resiliency, the way they come back from stuff, the way they respond, their authentic communication, gives me hope for this generation and the world that they live in, because I think we've got some dudes that are real leaders. And leadership, as you well know, can be really lonely. Those dudes aren't afraid of that. They want to be a part of something bigger than themselves, and I love that. I'm inspired by that. Great question.
What have you seen Bellarmine improve in since you played them at the end of December?
A Scott Davenport team is going to find a way. He's proven it. Like, he's one of the best coaches around. So you can see the little adjustments that they've made that I won't speak on the press conference in case they're watching it, or because I know you're pretty popular on social media. But you can tell in their last 4 games, Eastern Kentucky twice, one they beat, EKU, the other played a close game and lost down the stretch. Unbelievable game with Kennesaw in overtime, and obviously they won their last one against Jack State. You can just tell that they're more and more confident, and they're as dangerous as they've been in the past. So we'll have to be right. This is the time of year, you can tell, just click on SportsCenter, like, coaches are getting really frustrated. Everyone's tense. They're looking at the bracketology, and the bracketology says you're this or you're that. And like, you gotta be able to stay above the fray and just focus on the task at hand. I know that sounds really coach speak, but it's the reality. Like, it really, if you get focused on something else that you can't control, you're wasting mind space.
When I think about Bellarmine coming back in here, I'm immediately reminded of what happened last year. And is that something that you worried at all about this week, or address with your players? Of, last year's last year, let's worry about today.
Are you asking me if I worry about losing? Yeah, again, you guys, this league is good. Like, it's the best it's been in the 5 years we've been here. Purdue's the #1 ranked team in the country, and they lost to an Indiana team who's getting better. Like, it could happen at any time. Like, you could lose a game, and you could lose a game at home. So we can't fear the outcome. What we've been really committed to with our group is the process of getting better. And I think Thursday is another opportunity to try and have that manifest into our DNA. And our dudes will own that. They really will. We're not perfect, and we, as I said on the post game, we're not invincible. Like, we aren't. But we have a good team, and we have a good program, and we're capable, especially when we're right, of competing with anyone. And I really believe that. But you're not right every time out. And again, an injury could occur. You could go 3 for whatever from the 3-point. Last year it was, we couldn't hold people under 80. So how we navigate that and improve upon it, address it, I think is our charge as coaches to infiltrate into our guys, and I think they'll own it. So I can tell you we're taking the process seriously, and I hope we're prepared for a really good challenge on Thursday.
I asked Kyle about this and just this time of the year, and if it's, first of all, if it's fun to be a player at this time of year where chaos is just starting to ensue around, with upsets and things. But he talked about eliminating distractions and keeping the focus where it needs to be. Having a veteran group of guys like him, Darius and others, Does it make your job a little bit easier? What types of things are you as a coaching staff having them focus on?
Yeah, it definitely makes our job easier. I mean, again, Blake Preston's in his fifth year. Kyle, Shiloh, Darius, they're well, Blake and Darius. Kyle and Shiloh, they're fourth year. Zay is third year. So having a group of men that like have been through it a little bit and have experienced some really good highs and the lows that have occurred, I think that's healthy for us without a doubt. We're just asking them to be themselves, like just be the real version of you and give to our team what it needs, not just what you want to give. And they've adhered to that. Again, you guys don't see it because you're usually just around me in front of a microphone or when I'm on the sideline, but I get the benefit of being with them 3 and 4 hours a day. And that's why I have such admiration for this group. And again, I'm trying to stay away from, like I won't even open up a bracketology. I won't. Because if you're in first place in the ASUN and you're a one bid league, guess who they're gonna put up, us or Kennesaw at the moment. The moment it's not us or Kennesaw, and that'll be whenever it is, then we won't be out of the picture and no one will be talking about it. Bellarmine won the league tournament last year. They were not in any bracketology, couldn't have been. But my point is, those numbers or those predictions mean zero. What happens, what comes to fruition is what you do when the games are real and you're experiencing them. And that's what we're trying to prepare our group for.